Greetings, y'all. It's Matt from the Grand Arcade, back playing some more Farming Simulator 19. Hey, patch 1.2 is alive, guys. This is my test map, or well, it's a test map. But basically what we're going to explore is the new terraforming tool, the landscaping tool from Giants. This will change the terrain all around. I have, I guess, borrowed this land. We're going to test it out down here where the main homestead's at. So yeah, let's get started. So basically you go into the shop and there's this little shovel. So you can tab around to your different things here. So you got this little shovel. I'm going to get off controller in a second, but I'm going to go into it here. And I've already tested out a little bit. You can see what a mess you can make with this tool. So you definitely need to practice with it. We're going to head down here to this area to start from scratch. Right here is where we want to start. Alright, now I'm going to switch over to keyboard now because it is a whole lot easier to use with the mouse and you have more controls. And speaking of controls, I'm going to bring those up here now. So basically you can, let's get out here in a flat spot here, kind of like right out here I guess. You can raise, lower your terrain. You can change the size of the radius that you're working with. So if you want to get around some animal pens and stuff, you can make it small. You can make it big if you're working on big terrain. There really is not a big time limit on the radius you can do. It actually goes pretty big. I think that's the biggest right there that I've seen. But yeah, we're going to bring that back down to about like that. So yeah, you can raise and lower terrain. You can bring it back up. You can raise it all the way up. And if you just sit here, this is going to keep going, okay? You can make Devil's Tower from Close Encounters of the Third Kind here, literally. So we don't want to do that. You will note the money. Check out the money up in the top right corner. It is hemorrhaging. So remember this. This does cost money. And there is no confirm button. And you don't get money back. There's no refunds, okay? You don't get a receipt with this. You can't take it back to the stove. So just remember that when you go to do this. And once you change some terrain, it won't be the same until we get to another step here in a minute. But basically, yeah, you can raise and lower that. You can do the different textures. I'm just going to show you all that real quick. You can tab through the textures. You can do grass. If you want to, you can tab through. You can do this type of texture, which is kind of native to around here anyway. There's a darker grass if you want to do that. Gravel, this would work great if you're making a homestead. Different types of rock. Pavement is in here somewhere. There's like a sand kind of color, like the beach type terrain. There's a like a fresh sand after the rain or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of different textures in here you can mess around with. That looks like asphalt to me there, maybe. Or maybe like a dark dirt soil. That looks like concrete to me. It doesn't give you a label on them, which I wish it would have. But yeah, you can change the different texture colors here. All kinds in here, literally. I'm just kind of going through them all. Really, there's a ton of textures in here that you can toggle through. And then we get back to grass. So basically that's it as far as the textures go. And again, you can change your brush size if you want to. If you just want to do like a real fine zoomed in area, like say you wanted to get around like where's this thing at back here? Say you wanted to get around this thing, like the fence here. You could get around the fence and change the textures. Let's say you wanted to put some gravel down around it. You could get in like kind of close here. I think that's as small as that'll go, yeah. So if you wanted to work around it, you could. A little bit, change all that to gravel. It's a really cool tool to use, and it does delete some of the tall weeds and stuff, so if you wanted to just make all this gravel out here, you could. Just like, oh, there's a sofa. But anyway, let's get back over to sculpting, because this is where you can really make some damage. Tell you what, we will turn around here and zoom out a little. Let's go over to field 19. Do a little turn a bit here. Alright, so let's say you wanted to do some work around field 19. We're going to change our brush size here. Just a little bit. There we go, that'll work. And like I said, you can raise and lower this if you want to. If you want to build like a little pond or something. I don't know why you would dig a hole that deep, but basically, let's do some damage here. Let's say I raise this up. Or, no, other way. Is there a way? Raise that up. You can do a flattening tool once you raise your elevation. Whatever elevation you're at, if you want to flatten, you hit both left and right mouse button, and that will smooth out from that elevation. So remember that it's going to bring up and match that elevation wherever you go, and it'll dig into the ground to match that elevation. So if you wanted to like build Cheyenne Mountain and build NORAD, you literally could here if you want to. It kind of looks like NORAD. We just need a little cave there. But anyway, we got to fix this now. So how do we do that? Well, it's a process. It was a whole lot easier to create. It's a whole lot harder to fix. So basically, we need to re-elevate this ground here and actually lower this part here. So we're going to lower this ground. It's a lot harder to fix, I will say that. It's easier to mess up. So we're going to try to get this back to where it was. And I can't make any guarantees back here. Probably shouldn't have gone back this far. Let me see if I can get back here a little bit where I can see. So we're going to raise this, try to raise this back up where we had it. Try our best. Woo. Yeah, see? And look at the money. It's continually going down, so don't do this. Don't do this. No. Try not to use it. I'm going to stay away from the elevating tool as much as I can. But even if you mess this up, there's still a way to fix this. We just need to bring the elevation back down a little bit. And it's a slower process, and it still costs money, but not as much money. So we're just going to try to get our terrain back where we had it here. That still looks off. There we go. Bring that back up. Bring this down. I think this needs to come down. Can I not bring that down? I noticed getting around the trees, it won't let you do it. It'll start barking at you. Yeah, see, it says terrain cannot be modified here. So, alright. So let's bring on the smoothing. Now, flattening, basically it keeps it level wherever you go. It goes level back into the mountain, level out this way, and elevates it. Smoothing will bring all of this down, and it won't change the elevation unless you get like really into it. So, and it's a slower process, but it doesn't take as much money, I've noticed. So we'll bring that down, and then we may actually have to change the elevation some more. But basically what this does is it smooths out the blockiness of it, the textures of it. And yeah, we may have to change our elevation back there. Really, I'm just kind of focused on the front here just as a example to show you guys. So we can smooth this out. And now it's going to keep that. See this top elevation here? That doesn't go down. It's going to keep that elevation until you change it, until you raise or lower it. So then you can come back and smooth that out to match that elevation there. And I'm going to try to get it back as close as I can to the original state. May have to bring it down a little more. And until you get used to the controls, it's going to be kind of a mess to work with. So we're going to try to level all that out and smooth it out a little more. Because all of this was pretty much flat here. Let me bring that down some more. Bringing it on down. Alright, so you smooth this out. And we're pretty close to where we were. May have to re-elevate that a little bit, actually. Alright, just using the smoothing. Smoothing is done by pressing in on your scroll wheel. Just press down on it. Don't scroll with it. Scrolling, you can zoom in and out with that. But smoothing, just basically just hold that in. Like I said, it doesn't use we're not hemorrhaging. Notice the money up there in the top right corner when we hit spots that we are smoothing out. It does not use as much money, but it still uses money. So keep that in mind when you use this. But this will definitely smooth out any areas that you have that you need to level kind of out. And this will make it easier to plant stuff over, use your equipment over. Let's see, that's pretty close, I think. Let me turn around here. Keyboard controls are different. I'm not used to a whole lot of keyboard controls. Maybe bring that down a little more. There's still some spots out here that you just have to, and you can kind of see with your thing here where they're at. See how it's kind of in the square there, so you know, hey, I need to bring that down maybe a little. Maybe there. And then just go over it with general smoothing, and you should be able to get it about right. So until you see, like, see how it's still kind of changing a little bit. You can see the price dropping a little bit there every now and then. So if we get out of this mode, you can see, ignore that back there, of course, but you can see how this is back flat again. It's back smooth again. So it's, when I first started using this, I was freaking out. I was panicking. I was like, oh crap, because I was doing this number right here. I was doing that number back there that we did at field 20. But and even this we could do. How do you get to the store again? There we go. Again, I'm not used to the keyboard controls. So let's see if we can fix maybe some of this. Maybe at least back here on the grass. So we'll bring this down. Bring this down, down, down. And it comes up. It does pop up. If you move your cursor and it's over the edge there, it'll bring that up actually. So you got to be careful. So we'll bring this all back down where we had it. I need to just move forward with that really. Just try to get some of these back parts down here. And now just on this front here, just to show you, I'm going to start smoothing it out. So it elevates and de-elevates the area to match the surrounding terrain. See how it's filling in there? It's bringing it up. It just smooths it out, basically. That's what it's called, smoothing. And you see how that's still elevated? That's all it's going to do is smooth to that top point. So you can keep that at that elevation if you want to. You can bring it down. But all this is going to do is smooth this out to those angles at whatever degree it needs to create a line to. But you can see this already looks pretty good back here. It's a lot smoother than it was. And it's still smoothing because the money's still falling. And I guess this is how you delete your crop too, because it's definitely deleting it. But it is pretty smooth back here. So basically you just kind of, it's like grading or using a scraper blade. So in a way this is dynamic ground. It's just not truly dynamic ground. Like you can't pick it up with a shovel. You can't dig a hole or, you know, something like that. So alright, so that's, I'd say that looks pretty good right there. We can get out and walk up here, get around this that I'm not going to touch here, but yeah, basically you just recreate the hill so it's smooth again. You could probably go over it a little bit more with the smoother and get it a little more smooth, but for the most part it is good to go. You could plant this. You wouldn't have any problems planting this smooth area back here. So I'm happy with the tool. I'm trying to make sure that I showed you guys everything. Changing landscaping mode, like basically just put your different textures in there. So if you wanted to put gravel back here, you could do it all the way up the mountain if you wanted to. Create a new homestead, something like that. But basically that's it. You can change the modification shape to a dome if you want to. I don't know that there's really a big difference between the two. Other than if you switch back over to, how do you switch back over? X, there we go. If you switch back over to this and you change that, it does it kind of like a, more of like an octagon, I guess you'd say, instead of a square. So I think I'm going to stick with the square. It seems easier to me. You can still smooth with this. That's not a problem. But like I said, remember your elevations, guys. You can take down what you put up and then just smooth it back out. So you don't want these sharp, jagged edges up here. Otherwise, if you start doing stuff like that and bringing stuff up like that, what does it start to look like to you guys? It starts to look blocky, like a really bad really bad episode of Minecraft is how I put it previously. So yeah, so basically if you wanted to do that and smooth these over, say you wanted to have a big bump there for some reason, I don't know why you would, this takes away those edges, and it pretty much just smooths out the terrain to where, oops, I clicked the button and I didn't mean to. But anyway, that's the landscaping tool. I'll be utilizing this probably in my future maps. I will say that I might get a federal grant from like the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or maybe a one-time stimulus, or multiple-time stimulus. I'm just saying it costs a lot of money to do this. So I recommend, if you have the capability to, create a test map, play around with this before you use it. Definitely before you use it like on somebody's server or multiplayer, if you have access to it. I don't know about the accessibility stuff to it yet, but definitely you want to be careful using this and practice this before you make a mistake and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I put blocks all in your field, because I know a lot of people that might not be happy you did that. So yeah, definitely play around with this. It's got a lot of possibilities. You can create new homesteads. Definitely clean up around placeables. This fixes that. Just remember your smoothing button, the scroll wheel in the center. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to go play some Farm Sim. Until next time, remember, you reap what you sow. It's Matt from the Grain Arcade. We'll see you guys later.